This week on My Global Adventure.
I think getting sick in Bamako was actually a lot my own fault. I felt like all the energy was gone. I felt like my insides were melting. I thought, I don't care what the people who are signing my paycheck want from me. I need to go home. Mali was like 180 degrees from anything I had ever been around when I was a kid. Mali and its capital city Bamako sit just above the equator in West Central Africa, which explains why the heat covers you like a blanket. It's also evident from my first walkabout that Mali is one of the poorest countries in the world. It's difficult to just say, oh, it was so poor. You don't understand until you go out in it. And it was like these yellow dirt roads with garbage along the sides, with open sewers along the sides of those. And it was booths made of tin and old wood with people sitting inside them. They were selling crappy shoes, they were selling gasoline and beer bottles, they were selling knickknacks. Bamako was poor in a way that I have never seen poor defined before. I think getting sick in Bamako was actually a lot my own fault. I think I allowed myself to get really dehydrated. I felt like all the energy was gone. I felt like my insides were melting. I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna die. I am gonna die. And I've never felt like that before. I still wasn't feeling 100% when I set out for my first scheduled stop in Mali. The Village d'Enfants is an orphanage about 30 minutes from Bamako. According to my guide Seydou, it's a privately run facility funded by several organizations, including, strangely enough, the World Football Association.
Just the children who has, who has no more luck in their life, who have been abandoned.
How many children do they have here right now?
Présentement, nous avons 121 enfants.
121.
121.
Yeah.
What Mali lacked in economic structure, I think it made up for in community. There was a really strong sense of community there, and that was epitomized in the orphanage that we went to. Although the people at the orphanage were not blood relations, they were a family, they were a community, and they operated as such.
Yes, the village has been built at the image of the Malian villages. It's like, you know, here, we have big family. And the headmaster here, the director, is like the father of all the village. So the other men working here in this village are like the uncle of the children. I call them uncle.
Okay, what do you figure? Think I can get them all in my suitcase? It was so cool to be around those kids, and it was so great to see in a situation where you would think it would be the worst of the worst. You're in the poorest country in the world, you're an orphan, you're left to your own, you're put in a family situation that you don't understand, and yet it birthed this whole new community, this whole new sense of love and a new sense of giving. And to me, that's great. To me, that's as much what Mali was about as the poverty. Merci. Merci. Wow. Very good. Merci. Thank you. There were a couple of kids that had particularly glommed onto me that just wouldn't let me go. And, you know, in a way, it was like, oh my gosh, these kids need so much love that they're just raking it from us. But by the end of the day, when we left, I started to realize that there was a sense of real community and giving there, to the point that these kids just felt open to give and receive love that easily.
I think I found my new best friend. It's great. Hey, so how do you feel about going around the world?
was feeling okay that morning, but as the heat progressed and gets hotter and more suffocating, I started to feel sicker and sicker.
Oh yeah, he's pumped. He's coming.
And we had a really good time at that orphanage. I loved those kids. It kind of helped me forget about it. But as soon as we went to leave and sort of right around when we were leaving, I was feeling nauseous again. My head was hurting. My body was just losing energy. I thought, oh man, I don't feel well.
It's a big market.
Yeah, it's the biggest market of Bamako. I can even say of all Mali.
Okay. All right.
Hey, now.
Let's try it out.
By the time that we arrived at the market, it was the heat of the day, and it seemed to be that the hotter it got, the sicker I got. We were trying to do the schedule and do the shoot, because that's what we do, stick to this whole program.
So I'm going to try my hand at bartering again. So far, my record has not been stellar with getting a good deal in a bartering situation. And today I am feeling very much less than 100%. So that'll either pay off for him in that I won't have the patience to do it, or it'll pay off for me in that I won't have the patience to pay his price. So we'll see. Wish me luck.
And I tried. We went in. I was asking some questions.
It's very heavy, hey? Do they wear?
Yes,
That
this
heavy?
is for girls, yeah?
Yeah, it looks great on you.
But for the first time since we started this show, I thought, you know what? I don't care what the people who are sending my paycheck want from me. I need to go home.
There's no way I can stand up. I'm afraid I'm going to have to go home empty-handed. I'm feeling terrible right now. And I'm afraid that I would end up doing the if you break it, you buy it kind of theory in there, having to buy everything I hurled on in the next couple of minutes. So we're just going to head out, and maybe we'll be able to, come on, we got like 20 more countries to hit, as if I can't buy something there, right? Give me a break.
And I promptly went home, and I promptly threw up, I promptly had a headache, and I stayed in bed for the rest of the day. The beating of the drums is segregated to the old, respected men of the town. The idea for us was for me to come in and give it a try, and I thought it was really disrespectful. I should have refused to do it, but I didn't, and I felt like crap about it afterwards. Yesterday, I spent almost 12 hours in a van with only 2 temperature settings. Sweltering hot, even with the windows rolled down, or meat locker cold, because the air conditioning only worked on high. We're in southeastern Mali, home to a reclusive farming society known as the Dogons. Centuries ago, they settled here on the Bandagara cliffs of the Hamburi Mountains. The rocky terrain of the Dogon territories has been called the end of the earth. There are no paved roads here, no electricity, and little contact with the outside world. But that's all changing. I mean, we're here, aren't we?
Today we are in Songo. It's a Dogon village. You know, Dogon, they have different parts, three parts. Some are living on the plateau, some on the cliff, and some are living in the plain.
Okay.
And now we are on the plateau.
So what does Dogon mean?
Dogon, it means that we don't know the shame. We are proud, I mean.
My guide Seydou shows me the place where the Dogon elders of the Songo meet, a kind of village parliament where governing decisions are made.
Okay, let's get in. Be careful.
Am I allowed to go in here?
Yeah.
Okay.
The low ceiling is no accident.
Oh.
The cool part about this meeting place was that the roof was about, I don't even know how to guess, maybe 5 feet off the ground. It was just high enough so that all of the people could come in and sit, but they wouldn't be able to stand. And it was explained to us that that was done for a purpose.
You know, sometimes it happens, people, when they are discussing, they get hungry. So they want to beat each other. You understand? So for this to beat each other, I want to beat you. You have to fight now, for instance.
Okay.
You are obliged, you cannot beat like this. You are obliged to stand up. You want to stand up and beat each other.
Right.
And for this, your head will lock the roof. You are obliged to sit down like this. This is the first lesson of Dogon, to be really wise.
Ah.
You have to be wise.
Okay.
This is the first lesson. You must not fight, never fight.
The Dogon are a very spiritual people who believe in the power of the earth and the sky. Some believe that Dogon mythology is based on an ancestral knowledge of the stars that could only have come from visitors from another planet.
The first inhabitant of the cliff,
Okay.
they arrived here before Dogon.
So that's a long way up. How did the Talem get there?
Oh, you know, it said that Talem were powerful in black magic.
Okay.
So they changed themselves in birds.
Aha.
And they flew up to get this house.
This is the most amazing sight.
This way, left.
The Dogons are also known for their elaborate artwork, especially these amazing carved masks used in ritual ceremonies that are more than 1,000 years old.
We are getting to Ireli.
We're about to witness one of those ceremonies in the village of Tirili, the region's largest Dogon community. What I don't realize is the performance has been arranged specifically for us and has been chosen by our web audience as my physical adventure in Mali. The Dogon culture was so unusual, so foreign. I don't want to say primitive because it sounds like a negative connotation, but in a way it was, just in that it had been so untouched by modern advancement. The one thing that just really struck me was they had no written history. Everything that was them and that was what they remembered was transmitted by oral presentation. The crux of that was the mask dance, which is what we went to see. Basically, the mask dance has old revered men of the country that come together and beat drums. A certain drum will signal a certain mask. The person or the family that owns that mask will come in and perform a dance. Some of the masks talk about old historical animals that aren't there anymore. Some talk about heroes and legends and whatnot, and it's basically how they retell their history. So to be able to go see it was fantastic. The idea behind the show, though, is not that I just go see it, it's that I participate in it. Usually that works out pretty well. With the mask dance, it didn't work out so well.
Okay, so what would be a rhythm for one of the masks that just came in?
The beating of the drums is something that is segregated to the old, respected men of the town. The idea for us was for me to come in and give it a try. It was a really, really important part of who they were. And we came in and kind of just goofed around with it. And I thought it was really disrespectful.
It was probably a little sacrilegious on our part to come breezing in there and have her start pounding on drums. I really wasn't listening to what she was saying, and time was short, and it was 1,000 degrees, and our tempers were all running a little bit frayed and short. And so I just sort of pushed it through for us to do.
Right. Thank you.
I felt like it was a flippant idea, and I did it anyway.
Thank you.
That's nobody's fault but my own, and I felt like crap about it afterwards because this was something that preserved their history and it preserved their culture. Was it anybody's fault? Was it something that we did wrong? I don't know. All I know is I felt bad. I felt really bad about being any part of making something so unusual and so unique and so important. Just go away. The Niger River. This huge waterway runs almost from one end of Mali to the other, providing life and livelihood for fishing communities along its banks. One of the larger of those communities is the village of Mopti. We're nearing the end of the week here in Mali, and frankly, I think we're a little bit tired, but thankfully, this looks like a fairly interesting little town. The Niger is kind of the lifeblood of Mali, so it's going to be interesting to see how the people interact with that lifeblood and connect with it. And in fact, we'll be connecting with it because we're going to get on a boat here and take a little boat trip down the Niger. So to start us off, Sadie's just going to walk us around a little bit.
What we're going on this afternoon, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Right, guys? Right, guys?
Oh, yeah.
Give me a B. Give me an O. Give me an A. Give me a T.
Toy boat, toy boat.
Sadie, how important is the Niger River to the people of Mali?
You know, the river Niger is the blood of Mali. Permits people to have water, to make farms, and to have also fish. They live. It gives them life. I wonder if we didn't get this river, how it will be. So we can say that River Niger is for Mali as the river Nile is for Egypt.
On the way, Seydou and I stop at the village of Tongorongo, home to the Fulani tribe. They are a beautiful black people with oval faces and longer noses than most Malians. Fulani women make gorgeous pottery by hand and foot. When I looked at Mali, I saw the same thing over and over again. I saw people working very, very hard with very, very little. I saw barrenness, I saw incredible heat, incredible poverty.
You want to try?
All of these things were so 180 degrees from what I knew in Canada. And that really struck me. It was like a crack that started in my head. Mali was such a turning point for me. It was a point where I didn't know how to think about things the way I used to, but I also didn't know how to think about them in a new way. So they were just there. They were just in my head and almost kind of stagnant. We were driving for a really long time, and we got stuck in this African rainstorm. And the rain was coming down just in sheets, and we could do nothing but sit there. And I had so much running through my head from the whole experience of Mali. I just wanted to break out of it. I didn't want to be in that truck anymore. I wanted to open the door, and I wanted to get out and be totally drenched by that rain and just be washed by it. And out of that state of contemplation and of almost desperation, I wrote the poem African Rain. There's a particular line in it that says, I am a girl running no lies, no guile, wishing to be some other me, some other way. I think that's just exactly how I felt. I wanted that water to just run over me and wash me away because I was so confused, I was so tired, I was so sick, and I was so ready to have something change. It's been over a week since we arrived in Mali, almost 2. Still, it's hardly enough to do more than catch a glimpse of the people and the lives they live here. Despite being sick and tired of being sick and tired, I'm still charmed by the easy joy and strength of spirit that exists here. There are a lot of things we have that the people here don't, but if I've learned one thing, what they don't need are handouts. This sentiment is shared by the Women's Wool Cooperative in Ségou, halfway between Mopti and Bamako. Established by women, for women, it helps its members help themselves.
Okay. She said that, of course, what I have done here to gather their strength is a very good thing for many of women here, because some, they lost their husband. They have nobody on which they can rely on. And even some young girls also, they have no parents, so they are obliged to be here to work so that they can feed themselves.
Despite how I felt physically and emotionally here, I have been quietly drawn to Africa, like a call from the past that has somehow reconnected me to life. It's not a feeling you can put into words. It's like a drumbeat. It just resonates. You know what it is.
Coming up on My Global Adventure.
Normally, balloon rides are a really distant view of a land. Not so with Lars. Not so at all. We were down going through mountain ranges. We were going into valleys. We were pulling fruit off of the top of trees. It was funky and weird and like nothing I'd ever seen before, and beautiful all at the same time.